even though I knew you took it. And I'm thinking, oh, that doesn't surprise me. I've heard that so many times. And she said, well, I heard that voice again when I saw my Ouija board in the closet, even though she was going to get something else. And the voice said, Susie, you have to be the one who gets rid of this. You can't have somebody else do this one for you. I understood what she was saying. I knew some things we have to do ourselves. We can't have somebody else do it for us. And I understood that. She said, I listened to that voice again. I took the Ouija board out of my closet. I broke it up right there. And I took it and I threw it away. And then I never saw it again. But people would still stop by as they had before. I understand you're a witch. You know how to use the Ouija board. I have some questions I'd like to ask. And now she would tell them, I don't have the Ouija board anymore. I don't do that anymore. But if you come in, I'll tell you why. And so they would come in and sit down, and she would sit down with them and begin to tell them how deadly that stuff is, where the power really comes from, where she was really able to tell them things nobody else knew anything about. And she told me, even though they would say this is going to happen in the future, it was not 100%, but the percentage of having it actually happen was high enough where she kept coming back for more. 80 to 90% of it actually did take place. So that kept her coming back for more. And so she would sit down with these people and talk to them about God. And his power is better. His mercy is better. What he has to offer is better. And some of these people actually had Ouija boards of their own, but they couldn't work them like my mother could. And it scared them, and they would go home and throw their own Ouija boards out, and that would be the end for them. I had no idea that she had done that until 3 weeks before she died. The next day after that conversation with her, she called me up, panicked, and I knew what was going on. Satan was working through her at that moment, and she kept telling me, don't write that book. Don't write that book. What are people going to think about me? And I knew what she was saying, so I told her, okay, I won't. After I got off the phone, I told God, look, you want us to respect our parents. And if you want me to write that book, I'm going to wait until after she has died, in respect for her. And I know you understand what I'm talking about. That's what I told God. But I am going to ask you, when her time comes, would you please take her quickly? Because I don't think I can handle being there and watching it. So just make it fast for her sake. She's been through an awful lot. She's had an incredible life. She's struggled and suffered through a lot of physical pain, so be merciful to her whenever that time does come. 3 weeks later, it was on Easter, I come home from a journey to the cross, actually. I was involved in that program with our church, and I come home after the last performance. I had a phone call that my mother had passed away, and it was so fast. I mean, she lived 3 minutes away from the hospital. They could not revive her. They tried everything. And my younger brother said if they would have, it would have been horrible for her, because they use those things that zap, and who knows if they broken ribs and stuff with it trying to revive her. And it was very fast, very merciful, just kaboom, it was over for her. And I heard God say, I want you to write that book. And so I've been working on it. But people ask me, will your mother be in heaven? I don't know, because there's things inside of us we don't know about each other. But I do know God is merciful. God is doing whatever he can to get us in. He is not trying to keep us out. Jesus loves us. Jesus wants us. He's doing whatever he can to draw us in, that we can stand beside him in heaven. That's what he wants. And he's going to respect us. And so I know there's enough in there that let me know she was in her own weak way trying to hold on to God. So there's hope. And if not, if she's not there, I will know why at that time. But I do trust God's grace. I trust his wisdom. I trust his mercy. And I know he does not make mistakes. We will all understand everything eventually. I'm not there yet. I want you to know God does love you. And it is intense. Second question people ask me is, what did the angel look like? Especially kids want to know, what did the angel look like? Okay, here we go. Are you ready? When the angel showed up, there's light, it just comes off. Everything is light. And he looks like the stories, the children's Bible stories. You see angels in these, they have like this kind of a covering of it's not a robe, I don't know what it is, but anyway, he had sleeves on that kind of hung down. This is material that's not existent in our world. I've never seen it. It shines out. It's kind of a white satin, snowy, glistening, whatever it is. And when the angel did this and he drew that arm down and wrapped his arms around me, I could see this much of his arm. So he has hands and fingers, wrists like us. But, and I kept trying to think, how do you describe this? If I stuck my arm out and the angel stuck his arm out, my arm is dirty, is dull. I mean, and then I thought, well, yeah, no kidding. I mean, God created us from what? The dust of the ground. Dust thou art, the dust thou shalt return. So yeah, I'm a pretty dirty person. But the angel looked like transparent gold. It didn't look like skin like ours. And I understood when I read Revelation, the streets of the city are transparent gold. I used to think, does that mean totally clear? You can see down and see dirt. No, it just means it's so purified and so clean that it's got a pureness into it that we don't have it in this world. I mean, I've seen gold of different colors even, but you can't see through it. Like, it's different. I don't know how to describe it. But and I wonder, do they have skin? Is that skin or what in the world? I don't know. But it had wings that came up and kind of went back, and they're not feathers, but they're real fluffy and soft looking. But I've never seen anything like it in our world. I don't know what it is. There's some sort of a substance, or they would hang limp. But they come up and go back, and they shoot out, like I said, they shoot out those rainbow colors, come off of the wings. And just incredible. The hair was white hair, and it wasn't quite like ours. I mean, it kind of looked like ours has the strands, but there's something about their hair, it's kind of like it's got life in it. I mean, ours is dead. Really, you cut it and there's nothing, but I don't think they even cut their hair. I don't know. It's just one of those things I wonder, because it's got life in it. Everything's life. Even the skin, his skin even seemed to be life. So it shoots out light and life, everything about him. The face was golden, just like the hands, and the eyes didn't really have any prominent color. They just blended in perfectly with the face. But so that's what the angel looked like. Anyway, I'm going to open it up for some questions, and let me have prayer first, because some of us I know need to go, and some are getting ready for lunch or whatever. So I'm going to have prayer, and then those of you, if you feel like you need to go, feel free to do that. So let's have prayer, and then I'll open it up for questions. Father in heaven, I want to thank you for Jesus. Thank you for the gift. You gave it. You gave it in love. You gave it willingly. And you allowed him to suffer and take the death that we deserve to die, so that we would have a chance to accept his offering, his sacrifice, and the gift of salvation. I just pray that your Spirit will continue to work on our hearts. Those of us here who are struggling, debating, do I really want Jesus? I just pray you'll help them to make that decision, to draw closer into your love, and to enjoy the life that you have to give to us, the peace, the happiness, even in the midst of hard times in this world. You are there with us. I just want to thank you for that, and I pray that your coming will be soon. We'll be lifted up together. We'll get to live with you and praise you and sit on your lap and enjoy your presence and your love forever. Amen. So any questions? Go ahead.
In our homes today, especially those of us who are Christians, we still find ourselves at war with things coming in from the outside, brought in from family members. How do we find this?
This is my opinion. Okay, I'm not a professional, don't have any training. This is what I think. My husband and I, when we were early married, he was doing Bible studies with a lady that was very demonically attacked and struggling, and we took her to some exorcists who were going to cast the devils out. I was very upset. I had no idea what I was getting into, and I innocently had walked into this setting where these people think that there's a place in the Bible where Jesus said, "What is your name?" to somebody who was demonic, and they said, "My name is Legion, for we are many." So they took it as meaning every time you got to call up individual demons and have them confess their names totally upset me a lot, because if the focus is not on Christ in that case, I mean, we're looking at the devil, of course he loves that, don't look at Jesus. You don't have to look at him, keep your eyes on me, look how big I am. So how do you fight spiritualistic warfare in your homes? I would recommend a clean and fill. Okay, what I mean by that is not, I'm not talking about dusting and vacuuming. I'm talking about going through your house. There's different avenues into our soul where Satan wants to get control. Those avenues in movies, music, games, alcoholic beverages, and drugs. Those kind of DVDs, I mentioned music, right? Okay, those areas, I would recommend you go through every area that I just mentioned. If there's alcoholic beverages, get them out. Because people who are drunk, have you ever heard this? He's a nice guy when he's sober. Well, guess who's in control of him when he's drunk? And I voluntarily take it in. What you witness when people are drunk, that is Satan in action through them, displaying his anger, his violence. And it is not from Christ. So alcoholic beverages go. Drugs, whether they're, and now I'm going to be careful here, hear me right, don't misunderstand me. I have prescription with me, okay? But prescription drugs, when they are abused or misused on purpose, can lead. My mother abused prescription drugs, and it was incredible some of the things we could get her to do while she was medicated. Okay, so if it's not properly used, is what I'm talking about. The recreational street drugs is another thing I would recommend. Get it out. Because these kind of things that we willingly take in affect us, where it gives Satan access to have control. And I did mention games because the Ouija board is a game. There's other games out there that are satanic. How many video games and Xbox and these kind of things have you seen in the stores that you can just tell by looking at them that it is not from the Holy Spirit? If you have anything like that in your house, get it out. Unless, of course, you don't care. Go ahead and attack me, Satan. I recommend it for people who want Jesus. Get it out of the house. Go through your books. What kind of books are being read? In magazines, any newspaper articles, things that are not of a Christian, if they're not drawing Christ in, then they're drawing somebody else. There's only two spirits. It's either one or the other. So I recommend that. Go through all your movies. What movies are you watching? Are they Christian movies or not? And even Christian movies, you've got to be careful with some of them. So I recommend a clean and then a fill. Once you go through all those areas, you fill your house with what? With praise. Do you know Satan will not stick around when we're praising God? He hates it. You fill your house with the Word of God. Read it out loud. What good does it do me to have my Bible if it's just collecting dust and I'm not doing anything with it? Read. The power of the Word. When my brother read the Bible, when he had it on the Ouija board, he read chapter 1 and partway into chapter 2. If you were to look at your watch and say, ready, set, go, read 2 chapters, Genesis 1 and 2, and look at the clock, that doesn't take very long to read it. But Satan hated it so much, it took 4 years before he would talk to my mom through that medium again. That gives you an idea. But don't think, well, I read it now, I'm free to go for the next 4 years. Wrong. I'm serious. You've got to keep God with you always. Fill your house with praise music, worship music, anything that draws the spirit and the presence of Christ, of love, of peace, of joy. That's how you defend it. Do not ever try to confront a spirit, and I've seen people do it. There's a reason the Bible talks about, I believe it's the book of Acts, there was 7 guys that thought they were going to come cast out a spirit, and they ran away stripped and naked. I mean, that's only one demon. The enemy is too powerful for us to think that we can take him on and win. So that's what I would recommend. It doesn't matter how the spirits come in, whether somebody dedicated me as a baby or whether I voluntarily, like my mother, playing games and watching these things and doing these things that invites. It doesn't matter how they got in. The fact is they're there. Those ways will drive them out every time. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, go ahead.
Is VeggieTales okay?
Oh my! You know what? I love VeggieTales, and I'm an adult, and I still enjoy VeggieTales. Yes, VeggieTales I would recommend are safe for kids and adults. Christian, yes, you enjoy that. You know, here's the deal. If you think you can sit down and have Jesus beside you while you're watching it, you're safe. If it's something you wouldn't want Jesus to sit there and enjoy with you, it's not. And when in doubt, you're not really sure, cast it out. When in doubt, cast it out. Go ahead.
And I was thinking that includes the Disney cartoons. They have witches and
Yes. Yes.
these aren't just cartoons.
Right, you are right. And there's a lot of others besides Disney that's out there in a cartoon character. There's actually a lot of violence being promoted and disrespect and that kind of stuff. So yeah, you got to watch for the morality that's being presented there too. So yeah. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Did your brothers and sisters become Christians?
No. Did my brothers and sisters become Christians? Actually, I'm the only one in my family who's a Christian. I will tell you that my stepdad was an alcoholic, and this is what happened, you guys. He was 13 years old, hunting with his brother. For the first time, his mother gave him permission to go out with his brother, Rick, who was 19. And my dad was being careless with his gun. And Rick told him, hey, Dave, you know, you better be careful with that thing. It could be loaded. Well, my dad was sure. It's my gun. It's not loaded. I know. It's my gun. And so, to prove it, he pointed the gun at his brother and pulled the trigger, and it fired. And he was horrified, just shocked. And I did not know the whole story until, interesting, 3 weeks before he died, I was talking with him. And he told me that I was so sure the gun wasn't loaded. And he felt horrible. He was not a church-going person. His family did not go to church. You don't have God? Satan has a whole bucket full of opportunities to spread out here. Why don't you try drugs? Here's some alcohol. There's sex, there's food, there's gambling, there's sports, there's the internet, all these different kinds of addictions people can get into. My dad chose alcohol. It hurts, and he's crying when he's drinking. I've got to numb it hurts, because he didn't have God to go to. So he's trying to take care of all this horrible guilt and self-reproach that he lived with for years. And I was asked to talk to him when the news finally came. You've destroyed your liver. You only have 4 to 6 weeks. Realistically, we expect less than 4. And so I was asked to talk to him at that time, and I told God, only if you work it out, because I can't convert him. I can't think for him. And it worked out where I went to see my dad to talk to him, just to see what God does. The house was full of people from South Dakota, people from Montana, people from Idaho, people from all over town. And as if on cue, when I stopped in to visit, everybody stood up and left. And I was alone. And I knew, okay, this is God. So I had an opportunity to talk with my dad, and I watched him as he prayed with me. An incredible prayer. It was like experiencing my own conversion all over again. And he was the only one in my family so far. My younger brother I know is open to it, but again, I still don't preach at my family. I just watch for opportunities, and they do come sometimes. I know my family has a lot of respect for me. My dad died a very peaceful death. I'm told that he died a fairy tale death to a hell-filled life, and he's one I do believe wholeheartedly will be in heaven. I gave him my Bible, which I have with me today, and that's your Bible, Becky. Yes, it is, and you can read what I've marked, and it's okay. And every time somebody come over to visit with him, he would show them, look what I got. I got Becky's Bible, check this out. So anyway, an incredible conversion right before his death. But my brothers and sisters, not yet. I don't say they're not going to, because I know all things are possible with God. So I'm still hoping. Any other questions? Jason, did you have one?
I'm okay.
Okay. You can speak now or forever hold your peace. Go ahead.